Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. My 28 meters, wife's BFF-in-law, 26 meters, is upset we don't want to buy a house from him and it is making it difficult for us all to spend time together. A long story, I guess. My wife is Samantha, 26F, we got married a little over a year ago. Her best friend since literally forever is Erin, and Erin's husband is Andrew. Andrew is a real estate agent who works at his dad's office doing standard real estate stuff. As far as I can tell, their office seems to specialize in big, expensive suburban homes that are all the rage around where we grew up. Naturally, I've spent plenty of time around Erin and Andrew, as Erin and my wife were inseparable growing up and are still pretty close. Andrew and I kind of have conflicting personality types, so we'll probably never be close friends, but we get along well enough to hang out for an evening. A few months after we got married, Sam and I were at Erin and Andrew's home. Andrew started asking us where we wanted to buy a house. Sam and I have long agreed that owning a big house in the suburbs isn't really a priority in our lives, and we are kicking around the idea of moving closer to the city anyway. But when we told that to Andrew, he just kind of blew it off and told us that of course we want to buy a house because it is what you do after you get married, and we'll never find someone who can work out a deal like he can. He wanted me to look at some pictures of homes he has listed, but the whole mood was becoming uncomfortable, so we found an excuse to leave, and he wouldn't leave us alone until we promised we'd look at his website. Ever since then, it's like Andrew cannot be in the same room with Sam or myself without trying to talk us into looking at homes with him. I have started actively avoiding them just because it is so annoying that every time we meet he wants me to look at some listings on his phone or agree to go to a showing. I'm sorry to do it because I know Sam wants to hang out with her friend as a couple, but now even Erin is in on the game. Sam went with Erin to do some shopping a week or two ago, and she said Erin had them drive totally out of their way to swing by some house Andrew has listed, and Erin asked Sam to talk to me about it. Sam has been mad ever since that now she can't hang with her friend without being bugged about Andrew's listings. Is there any saving this? Samantha really misses Erin, and I'd love to hang out together again, but every time it just turns into a sales pitch. Is there a way to salvage the friendship? Too long didn't read. Wife's best friend is married to a real estate agent who won't leave us alone about buying a house, to the point we don't want to hang out anymore. Is there any chance of saving the friendship? I work in sales. He's trying to make a commission off of you. He's self-important, expecting that you're of course going to give him the business. Don't fall for it, and try and put him on the defensive, saying you have your own priorities that don't coincide with his sales goals and you're disappointed he views you as just a low-hanging fruit prospect for his business. The wife is just trying to help him get a paycheck. It's shady as hell and very seedy business dealings. What makes a salesman honest and what makes their friends want to do business with them is that they do good honest work, not nag their friends for business. I disagree with soliciting business from family and friends. In my world as a lawyer, I get my business from clients that are only hiring me on merit, and because I am successful on my own that way, I use my expertise to give my friends and family free legal services. I don't believe it should be any other way. Tell him you expect BC your family/friends that he will be waiving commission and this is just a favor, right? He will probably drop it. Hey, we'd love to keep hanging out, but we need to set a boundary about discussing real estate. Sam and I need you to both understand that we don't want to look any more listings, visit properties, or discuss our real estate plans with you guys anymore. While we appreciate your hustle, we feel the need to remind you we haven't hired you as our agent and we're not looking to buy. The pressure you guys are putting on us is making our hangouts feel transactional. We've tried to let you know we're not interested repeatedly, but we feel like we're not being heard on this and it's caused us to pull away. Once again, we'd like to have a social relationship with you guys, but the real estate talk needs to stop. I hope you can understand our feelings and that we can put this behind us and move forward in our friendships. Talk to them like adults and be crystal fucking clear about it. If they can't handle it, then fuck 'em. If they agree, then violate the boundary again, stop them immediately. So we set a very clear boundary on this matter in October. What about our statement wasn't clear? Redirect the convo to make them stop or end the gathering if you have to. This is weird. Is there a reason you cannot firmly tell them you are not interested in a home purchase at this time? Is it possible your wife secretly wants a big house in the burbs? Otherwise it seems like a simple and straightforward declaration should end the conversation and you can continue socializing as before. That's what we tell him every time it comes up. We're not really interested in buying out here. He just answers stuff like, well, okay, but look at this and see if it changes your mind. And by the next time we hang out he acts like it was a conversation that never happened. Sam should start inviting Erin to hang out with her more and not go to Erin's place. If they are good friends, Sam should be able to say, listen, we're not interested in a house in the suburbs. And when your husband doesn't listen, it makes me uncomfortable. I do not want to look at any more houses in the suburbs. If the friendship ends over that, then shame on Erin for letting her husband run roughshod over her. My sister and I got in a fight and called me not her real brother because I'm adopted and Asian when the rest of my family is white and biological. I made an I-13M got in a fight with my sister over the way her boyfriend treats her. Her 16F boyfriend can be nice at times but has a habit of leaving her on read. I thought it wasn't right and me saying evolved into a huge where she yelled, why do you care, you aren't my real brother anyways. I instantly started crying and went to my room and locked the door. I skipped the rest of my online classes and I have not unlocked my door since. I stopped crying a while ago but I'm still really fucking upset. Both of my sisters have came to my door to try and get me to come out. The sister who said it has said sorry multiple times and I believe she didn't mean it, but I can't face her right now without being upset. When she was at my door she called my mom and explained what happened and my mom and dad have tried calling me but I won't answer. I just want to be alone but eventually I have to come out and I don't know what to do when that happens. TDLR my sister told me I'm not her real brother. I got upset, ran to my room and she regrets it but I don't want to even look at her. I don't blame you for being upset. Your sister said an incredibly cruel thing to you. I think there are essentially two good options here. Option 1. If you usually have a strong relationship with your sister, you need to come out of your room when you're ready and say you want to talk to her. Explain that saying things like that to you is incredibly hurtful and upsetting, that you know she was angry but that is not a fair way to fight. That this kind of insult is off limits even when you argue. Option 2. If you don't feel like you can address this head on with your sister, you need to tell your parents. You can explain that you know she didn't mean it and don't want her to get in trouble, if that's indeed how you feel, but that this was extremely upsetting to you and that this kind of cruel, personal attack in a moment of anger needs to stop. Last, something I've heard said about adopted children that I think is really kind, that so few people get to explicitly choose their children, but you are so loved your family chose you individually to be part of their world. My partner is Korean and was adopted by his white family when he was a baby and found out the hard way after some bullying from school when he was 7 years old that he was adopted. He came home and asked at the dinner table one night, "Mom, Dad, why do I look different?" And that's when they told him that yes, he was adopted, but no matter what, he is their child and they love him just the same as they do their biological daughter, his sister. I don't think your sister was thinking clearly when she said what she did, but it was definitely very hurtful and mean. Whether you want to forgive her is your choice, but I'm sure your family loves you. Personally, I believe that real family is what you make it. There's people I've met in life I consider my family more than some of the people I'm actually related to by blood. Hi Ethan. I'm sorry your sister lashed out and said some mean stuff to you when you were just trying to be concerned for her. When people lash out and do hurtful things, if you're able to, try to take a step back and look at their actions. See if you can figure out their motivations or reasons. If you can figure out why someone is being negative, sometimes it makes forgiving them easier. It's a skill called empathy, trying to consider the circumstances of someone else's life and imagining how that would be. If your sister had used empathy for you, she may have thought Aiden may sometimes feel like he doesn't fit into our family and he tries hard to show he's a member and he cares about us. And maybe because you care so much, you got involved in her personal relationship with her boyfriend. Instead, she got mean. Sometimes people don't say the right things or don't address their emotions in the correct or healthy ways. Your sister was probably already upset her boyfriend wasn't paying attention to her, and your comments may have embarrassed her, or she thought your opinions weren't welcome. Rather than thinking about how she felt or addressing whether or not your opinions were welcome, she reacted in a way to hurt you, by trying to make you feel less significant than her in your home and giving herself a sense of superiority. That really wasn't fair of her. Listen to the apologies. Listen for if they say "I'm sorry I did _ or "I'm sorry your feelings got hurt." There's a difference between telling someone you're sorry for your actions and that you're sorry for their reaction. Your parents will probably want to be there for you. When you're ready to talk about how you're feeling and why, give them a shot. First of all, remember that, no matter how angry you are, no matter how sad you are, that these feelings will pass. You will feel better. And we have all been stuck in a room afraid to face everybody after being mega upset and not knowing how to rejoin the group. Your sister is in pain because your observation was right. A good BF shouldn't leave you on read. She knows what that means and she lashed out at you. If she had a more developed sense of self-esteem, she might have said, "You're right, Aiden. Goodbye to that loser. Let's us get a latte and forget all about him." But instead, she felt rejected and unlovable, and she tried to make you feel as bad as she did. But what she said was so bad. I am so sorry you had to hear that from a family member, even if you know she didn't mean it. She did mean to make you feel bad in that moment. I hope she realizes that momentary relief of lashing out in anger can never be worth harming her relationships with you and your parents. Boy, do I wish I had had a brother to point out when I was letting a boyfriend treat me badly. It would have been awesome to have a bro say, "You don't need that, you deserve better." You sound like the kind of family member I would want. Hi Aiden. I'm also adopted and have a brother and sister who aren't my biological siblings. Growing up, me and my brother and sister said some pretty mean stuff to each other, similar to what your sister said. When you hear it for the first time, it's heartbreaking. To hear someone so close to you say something so mean isn't easy on a young mind. You don't have to talk to her right away. If you live together, it's going to be difficult to avoid her, but give yourself a little bit of time, and when you're ready, try talking to her. Given that you have a fairly close relationship that is, and it sounds like she is genuinely sorry for what she said, just tell her exactly how you feel. Even if you have to tell her that you're upset and hurt by what she said, just tell her exactly how you feel and be as honest as possible. Understand exactly how you feel, and honestly, you guys sound like you have a pretty good relationship, so if that's the case, then this will be something you laugh about in your 20s. Me and my sister were laughing about a thing like this from when we were kids yesterday. Lol. When it's happening, it's horrible, and you have every right to be upset and angry at her. Those feelings are normal, and they do get easier once you've talked it out. Give yourself time and just be honest about how you feel, and they will understand why you're hurt by this. But most importantly, be strong. By the sounds of her reaction to you being in your room, your sister does care for you and will be able to understand your feelings a bit better if you talk to her. Feelings like yours right now are not permanent. Good luck, and I wish you and your family all the best. Heart. My 29F, ex's 34M, daughter 13F, is trying to ruin my relationship with my fiancé 30M. I met my ex's daughter, Gemma, when she was 4 and we broke up when she was 9. I grew really attached to Gemma over the 5 years I knew her, since I would be the one to look after her mostly whenever she was with her dad, so I really missed her when we broke up. Despite having a bad breakup, my ex agreed to let me spend time with Gemma as neither of us wanted her to be affected by it. I usually see her at least twice a month until the lockdown. My fiancé knew about this before we started dating and was fine with it. We got engaged earlier this year, and Gemma has taken it really badly. She never mentioned anything to me and seemed very happy when I told her, but she's been sending my fiancé nasty stuff on Facebook, including proof I was having an affair with her dad. My fiancé blocked her, but she keeps making fake accounts to continue harassing him. I've asked her to stop multiple times and she insists the fake accounts aren't her. It's obvious they are. Last week she crossed the line when she threatened to report him to the medical board if he didn't break up with me. My fiancé now wants me to stop talking to her. We had a big fight over it where he basically said he couldn't marry me if I chose to keep her in my life. He didn't say these exact words, but it was obvious this was what he was implying. I don't want to lose my fiancé, but I can't just abandon Gemma. I've known her for most of her life and if I cut her off it'll devastate her. I need advice on what to do. Too long didn't read. I've stayed in contact with my ex's daughter post breakup. It's never been a problem for my fiancé before, but now that we're engaged, Gemma is actively trying to sabotage our relationship. She's tried to make it look like I'm having an affair with her dad and threatened to report my fiancé to the medical board. My fiancé now wants me to cut contact with her. You need to talk to her dad about this. Stat. I actually don't blame your fiancé for asking you to cut contact, because Gemma is threatening his career and it's completely out of line. I understand wanting to stay in a child's life, but if she's actively threatening your relationship you may end up having to cut ties with her, for everyone's sake. You are not doing her any favors by continuing a relationship with her in which you are basically endorsing her behavior. Limit time. Why isn't she in therapy? Why is she your responsibility and not her father's? You are doing yourself, your fiancé, and Gemma a huge disservice by not actually addressing this problem. Gemma needs professional help. This is not normal or okay, and it is especially unfair to subject your fiancé to this harassment and abuse from a teenager.